Student Board Rep, Amkar.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hello? Okay. So just last week, the month of February ended, and with it a month dedicated to Black history. Although the incoming months may not necessarily be dedicated to it by name, the struggles faced by Black individuals in America, it is important to recognize their struggles. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and other individuals passed far too soon. This moment of silence is not intended to be political in any way. However, a tribute to the fact our social structures are still marred by harmful actions towards POC communities. Join me in a moment of silence in remembering the lives lost too early and to the lives that work to overturn a harsh reality.
Thank you, Amkar. Now we'll have a closed session report by the clerk.
All righty. Item 4.1, no reportable action taken regarding public employee performance evaluation superintendent. 4.2, the Board of Trustees took formal action by a vote of 5-0 to conditionally resolve litigation against Juul Labs Incorporated and other defendants regarding liability and damages related to e-cigarettes and vaping in Orange County Superior Court Case number 30-20-011-26712-CU-MT-CXC/JCCP number 5052. 4.3, no reportable action taken regarding existing litigation. 4.4, the same. 4.5, this item was pulled prior to the adoption of the agenda. 4.6, no reportable action taken regarding negotiations. 4.7, no reportable action taken regarding personnel. 4.8, this item was pulled prior to the adoption of the agenda. 4.9, the Board of Trustees unanimously voted to approve the release of temporary certificated teachers and counselors. A full copy of this employee numbers affected by this action is available for inspection. 4.10, the Board of Trustees took formal action with a 5-0 vote to approve the expulsion of student 22-27.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, moving on to recognitions, we have donation. We have a donation by Farmers and Merchant Bank in the amount of $10,000. Unfortunately, there's no representative here this evening, but we want to, on behalf of the board, we want to thank them for their generous donation to the AIM program. Yes, indeed. So we'll now move on to reports. First is 7.1, Student Representatives Report. Omkar?
Hello, everyone. Good evening. So, on the front page, for those of you who can't see the report, it's a picture of all the ambassadors and the board representatives that have been attending these events in the past month, and just to highlight like the collaboration between students and the board members. I know recently we invited Board Member Guerrero to speak with the ambassadors. We had a Girls in Engineering Day. We had the Black History Month celebration, and also the Saturday Academy, which is Randall Trejo actually sang at with Mr. Hoshi, and it was a blast. And all the students truly enjoyed the event. Thank you. Sorry. Okay. So on to the school reports. So to highlight something from Anaheim, on both February 16th and February 17th, they held the Sister Act performances, where a student-led tech crew, full-on makeup crew, dance student performers, and actors came together to create an amazing performance. At CVA, ASB has worked diligently to bring forward the masquerade event, clothing drive, a beach cleanup, a readathon, and an annual event to connect CVA students. So pretty busy ASB at CVA. At Cypress, they have started a Centurion Games, which is a way they have different classes against each other to raise points for the senior class or the freshman class. And it's been going a blast recently. I think we had the esports games today. So the seniors versus the freshmen, and they played Mario Kart. So it's quite fun there. And also our show choir with Pink Thunder, which is one of our teams, earned second place and have the division's Outstanding Soloist Award. And High Voltage, which is another one of our teams for choir, they earned first. Outstanding Performer and Soloist. At Gilbert, they held the third City of Hope blood drive, and once again, students came out in large support to provide for their communities. Catella had the BSU Club hold another Black History Month Spirit Week, which included wearing Kobe Bryant Jersey Day, 90s Hip Hop Day, and other such celebrations. At Kennedy, the Irish Academic Decathlon team came first overall at the Orange County Academic Decathlon. So, yay for the nerds like me. So, agency nerds are definitely winning out there. And, yeah. And they also held their first soapbox speech contest, which I think is also an ode to the district prioritizing civic engagement. Loera recently held their VAPA pep rally, which had classes like ceramics demonstrate what they do. They had instruments playing and other such performances by the visual and performing arts. At Magnolia, they held an international event, which was a week-long celebration of cultural diversity. They had an exciting opening ceremony, which set the tone for the entire week. And I know they had a culminating celebration day where they had performances by students and activities of those kinds. Oxford Academy had the Association of Latin American Scholars take a field trip to San Diego toward the end of last month to take a look at UCSD, SDSU, and the University of San Diego and the ways they can continue higher education. Savannah had their Living Earth science class go to the San Diego Safari Park to be more interactive with what they learn in Living Earth and given that opportunity. So they were very grateful for that. And finally, Western's ASB and numerous clubs on campus organized a week called Western Cares Week. So different clubs on campuses picked different activities that were designed to encourage students to participate in different community service projects. So once again, AUHSD in action towards community service. Thank you.
Very good.
Great, thank you. And also, enjoy your written reports every time. It's a great job, you and all the ambassadors. Do we have any student speakers? That's next on the agenda. I don't have anything in writing from them. Okay, seeing none. We'll move on to reports from associations. And what about Grant Schuster from ASTA, number 1?
Good evening, Cabinet, Board of Trustees, and yes, relationships that have been built over the last few years, these are the times that test them. March traditionally is a very difficult board meeting for teachers, for association presidents, for any of the employee groups. When we hear about reduction in force notices, when we deal with declining enrollment, when we deal with funding issues. We've managed to avoid this. My first 20 years in the district, this was an annual trip to the board meeting in March to find out how many people were going to be let go. We would try to figure out how to balance retirements with positions and keep as many folks as we could. In 2017, this is actually looking through the materials. This is the 6th anniversary to the date of the last time we had a reduction in force notice. And to just refresh people's memories, just in my association, 45 names were put on that list. And within 6 weeks, through the hearings, by the time the next school year started, 44 of them were retained out of the 45. And I just want to make sure we all understand, as a cabinet, as a board, we have an opportunity to reprioritize what we're looking at in funding right now. The last 6 years, we've managed through retirement incentives, through negotiated class size reduction in the contract, through several different means to make sure that we did not have to let any of our staff go. Through the pandemic, there was extra funding provided, and we actually expanded. We have more teachers in this district now than at any time since the QEIA funding and grant that we had going back almost 20 years. But right now, when we look at where we are and what we're looking at financially, we also have an opportunity. At the end of this school year, the end of the 22-23 school year, there will still be $59.8 million in the COVID relief fund accounts. A fraction of that could be enough to fund staffing at current levels. So I think the board, the district, all of the associations, we need to make sure that we understand exactly what opportunity we have to continue to deliver all of the services, all of the relationships, everything that we've built coming out of the pandemic, and understand specifically what that COVID relief money was intended to be used for. And if we have an opportunity to use that to continue the staffing levels, to continue the services, not just in the classroom, but the psychologists, the social workers, our counselors, if we have the opportunity to continue that for another year, to make sure that our students who are recovering and coming through that receive the same sorts of services, then I think we need to take a hard look and make sure we take advantage of every opportunity we can. So I appreciate any consideration that you have for that and look forward to working to find decisions moving forward with our staffing and moving forward with the next school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schuster. Hilda Vasquez.
Hello, everybody. Good evening, President ONeill, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Matsuda, Executive Cabinet, students, parents, and community online and in person. It's a great Great day to be here with you. I'm going to just start with, it's incredibly enough, crazy enough that we're fast approaching the end of the third quarter, which will be March 17th. I want to share with you that during this time, our school sites have been very busy, not only with all of the regular activities, CIF events, and everything that's happening at school sites, but also preparing and planning for the upcoming school year with students as they are going through all the course request process and are also reviewing and strengthening the 6-year plan. My friends who are not in education say, oh, you must be happy, you're almost done. I said, no, this is the worst time. You're ending this, you're planning next year. So it's very, very busy. At school sites, our teams are continuing our focus on student engagement, attendance, reconnection, and reentry, and have further developed their sites teams to address these areas. Also, during this past month, a couple of our school sites had their WASC accreditation visits, and we want to thank all of the people who were involved in the process for their support and time for making them a success. In terms of instruction, this past month, we had the Spring Civic Learning Institute, which took place, and also we have all the school sites continuing the training on community building circles and implicit bias. Also, school sites continue to celebrate diversity. You heard a lot of the events from UMCAR today, this evening. We want to celebrate diversity and empower students through their continual work on student capstone, growing our exclusive pathways, STEAM-A-Palooza Showcase, which is coming up, and also soapbox speeches. I want to also share that we are celebrating international days and assemblies. I want to highlight the Girls Engineering Day that happened this past weekend, as well as the student-led Saturday Academy workshops, which was a mindfulness focus. We did get Ms. Guerrero and Ms. Randall Trejo to sing and dance with us, so that was fascinating, and it was great. They're great singers, by the way. And also want to acknowledge and celebrate our district-wide celebrations for Black History Month. And with that, that is our report for this month of February.
Thank you. Lacey Munger of APCA.
Good evening. It's been a while since I've been up here, so bear with me, please. Just to give us an update of what's happening with APJ and our counselors within the past couple of months, because it's been a couple of months since somebody has been representing our union up here. What's important to know is that everything I'm about to present to you is with our 80-something counselors that we have, our 80-plus counselors that we currently have, knowing that 24 of them did receive or will receive their temporary layoff notices. So important to know that what I'm about to present is with our 80-plus counselors at this time. Currently, all of our counseling teams are wrapping up our registration with our schools, our feeder pattern schools within the 5 school districts that we work with, our 6th graders going into 7th grade, and then our sister schools within our school district, the junior high going into high school. Our main priority during registration, as you know, is our student voice. We want to make sure that our students are aware of the multiple opportunities, pathways, anything that is offered through our district. Our students and our community is aware of their choices and their options. And so student voice is very important. That also leads to a student-led master schedule when it's time for us to build our master schedules at our school. And this is all done by the counseling teams. What I think is important to note is that our counseling teams are the main focus when it comes to connecting with our feeder patterns, whether it be in the elementary school districts or junior high to high school. We are their first point of contact, and we will continue to be so. The time that we are spending doing counselor presentations, parent nights, one-on-ones with our students to make sure that they are given the choice and given the voice to do and choose what they want for registration, that is all done because we have counselors at the school site. Moving on, our high school teams just finished with the FAFSA push for March 2nd, and so, of course, the goal is always 100%, and even though FAFSA will continue through the end of the school year, our goal was to have 100% at each school site. We are interested to see what the End result is when it comes to the March 2nd deadline, but that does not mean that we stop with FAFSA or encouraging our students to apply. We will continue to do that until the day they graduate, and if need be. We did, and we are appreciative, because last week we had a group of counselors who were able to travel to Sacramento and participate in the Careers in Education Conference. And we'd like to thank Amanda Bean, Allison Conrad, Scott Rendell, and MJ Cook from the district, because they came and supported counselors, and we supported them as well. But we appreciate that opportunity to do so, because it allows us to grow our counseling program. It allows us to basically see what's going on outside of our district. And what it does is it gives us a really good idea, and it opens a lot of eyes as to we are really leading the way when it comes to our pathway programs, dual enrollment options for our students, and we are that leader. Scott Rendell and MJ Cook gave a great presentation, and I'm not just saying that because Scott is in the audience. It was actually fabulous. And I've heard them speak many times, being a work-based learning coordinator, but to have other districts hear the same exact information, it just goes to show that we probably should be doing more presenting, in my opinion, to the rest of California based on what is available through our AIM program, work-based learning, all of those different things. So we do appreciate the district allowing a group of counselors to go and to experience that. It really was an eye-opener in what we provide our students. Additionally, our Puente counselors last week went to a two-day conference for Puente, once again at the same time allowing our counselors to go and collaborate and communicate and just be with Puente counselors across the state of California. Once again, just honing in on what we could do better and what we're already doing very well. And then lastly, because I see my time's coming up, so I apologize once again, just looking towards the next couple of months, we're looking at our social emotional learning lessons that will be coming into our schools that will be counselor-led, along with the fact that college acceptances are now coming through for our seniors. And so we'll be working with our seniors in terms of right choices for them, guiding them to what might be the best, what will be the best spot for them, and of course dealing with, of course, if they are denied as well. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, Lacey. Any other association members out there that I'm overlooked? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to 7.4, Parent Teacher Association, Student Association, PTA Report. Peggy Cruz.
Good evening, everyone.
Nice to have you here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a while since I've been here, and good to see you all. On February 17th, PTA turned 126 years old. So we've been around for a long time, and to celebrate that, our Anaheim Secondary Council held a fun bingo night. So thank you, Ms. Jessica, for attending that. It wasn't just a purpose to celebrate PTA, but what we're trying to do as a PTA is to bridge the gap between our feeder schools and our high school, junior high schools. So we invited all our incoming districts to attend the event, and we had a few families that came, and it was a very fun night. Right now, our PTAs are working on doing their elections for our next year's school board. We have on March 28th coming up our 4th District Administrators Dinner. And I'm sorry, I know that is during our spring break, so we hope that some of our principals will be able to join their presidents at this dinner. And then in May, we will be having our Honorary Service Award dinner. So we're just working out the details, so be on the lookout for that invitation for you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Peggy. Next, public comments on open session items. We have 2 people wishing to speak. First, we have Stephanie Camacho von Dyke.
Good evening, Board. My name is Stephanie Camacho Van Dyke, and I am the Director of Advocacy and Education at the LGBTQ Center of C. We're a longstanding organization that serves lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning people in Orange County. For over 50 years, our organization has responded to the changing and growing needs of the community, providing culturally appropriate and affirming health and wellness services. I wanted to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude for your unwavering support for our LGBTQ students. Your leadership and commitment to creating an inclusive and safe learning environment has made a tremendous difference in the lives of our students. Over the last decade, the LGBTQ Center OC has partnered with Anaheim Union High School District in providing resources and support for LGBTQ students, hosting educational workshops and activities, and supporting student-led initiatives to develop inclusive and affirming school environments. Your efforts to promote equality and acceptance have helped create a culture where every student feels valued and respected for who they are. By supporting LGBTQ students, you have shown that your school district is a place where inclusion and diversity are celebrated and where every student is welcome. Your support has not gone unnoticed, especially amid this time when LGBTQ students, especially trans students, are under attack for who they are. The LGBTQ Center OC is grateful for your commitment and collaboration to making our schools a better place for all students. Your leadership sets an example for other districts to follow here in Orange County, in comparison to other districts that might not be following suit, unfortunately. And we are proud to be a community partner with your district that values inclusivity, equity, and diversity. As a group, I've had the opportunity to work with various student groups on campuses across Anaheim, from attending Long Beach Pride Parade, pre-pandemic of course, to hosting district-wide picnics, campus-wide events, providing support to LGBTQ students, especially bolstering mental health support. All these things are certainly noticed, and we're so grateful for your support. So once again, thank you for your support for LGBTQ students, and we look forward to working together in this coming year to create a more inclusive and welcoming learning environment for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Patricia Ibarra.
Buenas tardes. My name is Patricia Ibarra, and I am currently serving as one of the 4 dedicated administrators at Western High School. Today, I am here to tell you a little bit about my experience at Western. This year has been definitely a learning experience as a first-year administrator. I am beyond lucky to be a part of the familia here at Western. Today, I'll also be highlighting about our amazing Lean Crew program. At Western, Lean Crew exemplifies the 5 C's to the core. So I'm going to share a little bit about how they exemplify those 5 C's. So let's start with collaboration. Our Lean Crew leaders collaborate with other groups on campus to promote school spirit, support freshmen in their transition to high school before the school year even begins. They participate in positive relationship building training amongst themselves and their mentors, and attend athletic events, as well as send off our teams whenever they have to depart campus to go on those amazing games. Communication. Our leaders, teachers, and students communicate with freshmen. They share events and organize events, talk about supports that are available on campus, and encourage every single pile to get involved in clubs, athletics, and extracurricular activities. Critical thinking. These students and staff participate in almost every single Saturday Academy. And I did say that I'm going to highlight a couple things. I want to highlight that Western leads when it comes to our Saturday Academy percentages. We have a lot of teachers and students that come to Saturday Academy. During Saturday Academy, they not only work on important academic events, but they also ask for help. They organize and facilitate some of those social events, academic summits, and community service opportunities for all students. Creativity. Varsity Talks. Has anybody heard of Varsity Talks before? Yeah, I see some hands. And if you haven't, I'm going to give you a flyer in a little bit so that you join us soon, okay? So this is a Lean Crew inspired branch that, through creativity and a lot of heart, found a way to empower our varsity athletes to mentor JV and Frosh athletes through athletic etiquette, preparing them for higher education, campus harmony, and having student-parent fairs. So again, if you haven't experienced a varsity talk, our next one's going to be during our April 8th Saturday Academy from 9 to 11, and I'll give you a flyer in a little bit, okay? Compassion and kindness. As a former special education teacher and an EL student, this one comes close to my heart. Our Lean Crew members not only welcome every single student, but they also provide EL students with low-stake opportunities to practice their English via the many activities that they facilitate. And on a weekly basis, they facilitate PE sessions with our adapted PE students, which fosters buddy relationships that you can see across campus. Now, this is only a very small section of all the amazing things that are happening at Western, so I'm very thankful that you gave me the opportunity to come and share that with you all. Thank you. Let me pass these flyers out.
That's neat that you took the time to do this. Very good.
Thank you.
Bravo, thank you so much.
Thank you. Hope to see you there.
Next is 9.1, presentations, Measure H Citizens Oversight Committee Annual Report, March 2022 through February 2023. Dr. Nean?
Yes, we have our chairperson, Mr. Walker, here to present the report to the Board of Trustees tonight. Thank you so much. We also have our Executive Director, Patricia, ready to answer any questions as well. Thank you.
Good evening, Board of Trustee members, Superintendent Matsuda, cabinet members, and members of the audience. My name is Alan Walker, and I'm one of the members of the Citizens Oversight Committee for Measure H. And this evening, I'm just going to touch on the highlights because you should have a presentation folder in front of you there with all the images perfect.
Very nice, thank you.
So we're going to move right along this evening. This past year, we actually met 5 different times on different campuses. We chose Ball Junior High, Sycamore Junior High, Magnolia High School, and Western High School were the campuses that were getting activities and work done to them. So we were there. We met May 18th of 2022, June 15th, August 31st, December 1st, and February 9th were the actual dates. On the committee, we actually have 7 members this year. We have Blanca Haragi, Grant Rowan, Peggy Cruz Stodhill, Brenda Soto Bryan, Moses Kim, Robert Nelson, and myself. Some of the duties, just to kind of give some of the audience, and I know you've seen me here before, so you have a good feel for what we do. But we review revisions, and we approve the bylaws as far as the committee's concerned. We review the current projects from the facilities master plan. We take visits to the different construction sites, which I really enjoy. I think all the committee does. We have a really good time doing that and seeing the work in progress. We attend regular meetings. As a complete committee, we review the various reports, annual performance and financial audits, quarterly expenditure reports, construction project updates, planning and the status of the new upcoming projects. And then we review the bond issuance, and there's been 3, actually. And we also review the district, make sure that the district is maximizing the monies that is being funded. Now, on the 3 issuances, the first 2 have already been completed, and working on the last one now. And actually, there have been savings on the prior 2, and we rolled those into the next issuances, which has been very good as a community member myself to see. They're being very efficient with funding. And you can see the different amounts there. I'm not going to run through all that because I've been through that before. But we're working on the last issuance. And we're figuring that this next year will be the final year of the monies being funded, and the project should be complete. Just to remind you and the audience as well, the actual Measure H bond measure was, the total funded was $249 million, which is a pretty sizable number. But here's the cool thing about it, and that I really appreciate, and I suspect the board members, the trustee members are aware of it as well. There's been state matching funds that have been brought on board specifically and exactly because of Patty Neely and her team's diligence to be out there looking for new monies that would be applied to the Measure H projects. So year to date, or I don't know how many years it's been now, 4 or 5, and dealing with this, which has been amazing, their team, Patty Neely's team, has brought on state funding, extra monies above and beyond the $249 million of $87,720,031. That's incredible. That's astounding to me. I mean, money that wasn't there, that wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for her and her team. So props to you and your team. So that brings the total actually to $336,720,031. That's amazing. Okay, now the next 17 slides are just going to be kind of running through them on what we saw get accomplished this past year. We started out with Ball Junior High, and they basically did their quad area and the eating area. They did the stage. They did the administrative building and the front of the school. Same basic thing went with Sycamore Junior High as well. And I'm not sure if you've had a chance, how often you get to the different campuses, but I really would encourage you, if you get a chance, to take advantage of it, because it's amazing to see what has been done. I mean, it's 21st century renovations and modernization. I mean, I would be excited to be there attending at these different campuses because they really have done a nice job in design. Okay, so Sycamore and Ball Junior Highs. And we went to the Magnolia campus. They've done a lot of major stuff there. I mean, down to the ground, underground plumbing, the showers, the locker rooms, again, the quad area and the stage in the quad area. Just very, I mean, if you look at it, it's pretty impressive. I mean, like, pretty sweet. Look at that. That's amazing to me. I don't know if any of you have architectural backgrounds, but that's impressive. It really is. And then we have the underway, or projects that are coming up and are already underway, and ones that will be underway here shortly. This here, some of those, that's Magnolia. They're still continuing on with Magnolia, working on the administrative building and the cybersecurity building and classrooms there. That's amazing looking to me. Can you imagine a high school looking like that? That's impressive. Okay, continue on with those. And the one with the, I like the, oh, she passed it. The logo there with the Magnolia High School. That's the band and music rooms, actually, that's going to be building there. Okay. So now, upcoming projects, and we're going to actually hit on Magnolia again because they've actually already started, right, Patty? Yeah, the complete renovation of the pool there. So they're going to have a brand new pool when they're finished, and that's underway. Western High School is going to get a practice field as far as football and soccer. That should be started here in the next month, roughly? Yeah, within 2 weeks. 2 weeks, yeah. So that's going to be really nice. That's my alma mater, for those of you that may not know that. So I'm excited about that. Okay, and then also our rivals, Anaheim High School. Darn it, they're getting a full-on field. How that happened. Anyway, okay. But it's very impressive, very nice. Back again at Western, they're going to be getting a brand new entry to the school, as you see that kind of A-frame looking device there. That's pretty impressive. And then some of the inner areas are going to be updating as well. Now, this picture here is actually of Orange Avenue. And for any of you that have been by Western and seen the student parking lot, they did an amazing job of that with the nice masonry columns. And they're going to continue on with that all the way down to Western Avenue with that same kind of look. And it's really nice. So that should be coming up here shortly as well. Okay, so in closing, based on the review of the financial and performance audit report dated June 30th, 2022, project updates and site visits that we've had, we are confident that Anaheim Union High School District is expending the bond proceeds only for the purposes set forth in the Measure H's bond program. Now, in wrapping up, like I say, I'm not sure, I don't get a chance to get around you folks that often, but I suspect you realize the treasure that you have in Patty Neely and her team. I mean, she honestly has done a masterful job at the design. I mean, she's had help, obviously, we understand that, but approving this and getting the design done, the quality, making sure that the work is done properly. And if there's some problems that they didn't anticipate, those get taken care of too. And then she's funded and beyond funded the projects. That's impressive. So hats off to them. Oh, and for the members of the audience, if you don't have a presentation with you, you can go to the district's website and you can find the information there. And it's impressive what they've done. And you know, I've been around the district since 1968 when I went to Orangeview Junior High School, started there and then went to Western. And the district has needed to be renovated for a long time. So props to you guys for getting it done because it's looking really good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I can make a quick comment.
Yes.
Yes. I just want to say I'm also an Anaheim High School grad, so I'm happy about the field at Anaheim High School. But I also want to commend the committee and their work and the board for pushing the bond forward. And I've had the opportunity to visit some of the sites and see some of the great work that the bond pushed through. So very excited for that. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. I want to thank Mr. Walker. It's always a pleasure to have you here each year giving us your report. And we feel very confident in your committee and being the oversight that it is, making sure that we are on track and being responsible for the bonds. And we look forward to it for the future also. Yes, yes indeed.
I just want to thank you for acknowledging Patty. There are not enough superlative words in our language to describe what she does and her accomplishments. I'm just awed by what you do and how you go about it. And you're such an important part of the structure of this community. And thank you for the time and the love you put into this.
Thank you, Patty. We appreciate it.
And I just want to add, thank you to all of the committee members for giving your time and effort to do this, because we need our community to support us. And Alan, and thank you because you've been a long time, head of this committee, and thank you for all your time and effort.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving right along to 9.2, our second interim budget report. Dr. Nean.
Well, good evening, Board President ONeill, members of the board, Superintendent Matsuda, Cabinet, and members of the public. Thank you for being here tonight. I'll be presenting the second interim report, which is all the financials ending as of January 31st, 2023. I do want to take this time to thank my staff who has helped with this report. This is extremely important and work countless hours, including weekends, to get this work done. So thank you so much, Karen, our Executive Director of Fiscal Services, Joe Camon, our Controller, as well as our Budget Manager, Brianna Crow. Thank you so much. I do want to start by talking about the overall broad economy. So the overall broad economy, there is still the inflation, although if you can see on the chart here, inflation is coming down from the high of June of 22, from the 9.1%. The latest number is at January was about 6.4, so inflationary numbers are coming down. However, there's still the rising interest rate that has continued on, as well as the supply chain issue, as well as the struggling stock market. So these 4 different issues would continue to stifle the growth of the national as well as for the state of California. However, our governor has really made a strong commitment to continue to fund education. So we are extremely excited about that. In the proposal back in January, when the governor proposed his budget, for the 23-24, there was a $22.5 billion shortfall. However, the governor has proposed multiple measures, including funding delays, reductions and pullback in some of the funding shifts, some of the other reductions in borrowing. So the goal really is for the governor to continue to fund the cost of living adjustment, so which I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. So we're extremely excited. The governor has made that commitment to public education. However, during this time, the the severe winter that California has been experiencing, as you all know, this has actually pushed the shift of the tax extensions. So that latest tax extension for filing the personal and some of the business tax returns has now been pushed to October 16th in 51 counties. So in Orange County is one of those counties. So this will actually affect what the revenue that will be released as of May. So when May revised, usually the state would have all the taxes as of April. However, at the May revised, the numbers are going to be not as reliable since the taxes revenue will not be coming in at that point. So this is something that we are closely to monitor. So probably the budget will be adopted in June, and then we'll probably have to wait many months to see what the real number for 23-24 would be. So that's going to be really up in there at this point. So that's something that we are going to monitor. As you have seen here, this is our projected enrollment. As we have known, we have been declining enrollment. So we, back in about 2011-12, we're about 33,000. We're now about 27,000 students and projected to further decline. So the biggest issue that we're running into is we have lost about 5,000 students in the last about 10 years or so. But in the next 5 years, we're projected to lose another 4,000. So we are actually accelerating our decline. And so this is a phenomenon across Orange County, not only Orange County, but as well as across the entire state at this point. But especially in Orange County, due to the high prices in housing, this has even significant and further that decline. And as our district, we have now formed a school efficiency committee to address our declining enrollment issue that we have here. So the purpose of the committee is to really to look at a student-centric focus to mitigate the impact of declining enrollment from a facility perspective relating to these criteria: student educational goals, staff, budget, facilities, and community. The committee is made up of principals, teachers, classified staff, parents, and district office staff. Currently, we have 5 sites that are being represented from Orangeview, Brookhurst, Western, Savannah, and Hope. And the committee has met since December, and we are meeting every 2 weeks. And the goal would be to present a recommendation to our superintendent by the end of April and make the presentation to the board sometime in May or June at this point, and that's the goal. If there is a surplus site at that point, then there will be a separate committee to address that issue at that point. But that was only if there is going to be a surplus in a school site. But at this point, no decision has been made at this point. So do want to be very clear. There may be some Some people may have been hearing different things, but at this point, the committee have not made any recommendation at this point. It will be made to the board, hopefully by May or June. The other issue that we are facing that started just this year is the attendance rate. So if you can look back about 10 years or so, our district have been achieving at about 95% attendance rate in attendance. For a secondary school district, that is extremely, extremely impressive. You don't get that. That means our staff are doing a great job to make sure kids do come to campus. So really thank all the staff. That includes all the teachers, all the class staff, all the admin. Thank you so much for doing a great job so that our kids are here. And even during the pandemic, the first year we came back, which was last year, we still achieved the 95%. However, this year, we started out the school year pretty well at 95%, and then as each month have gone on, we have been declining to 93% one month, then 92%, and then to 90%. So the projected number of the attendance rate for the current year is at 91%. And we're seeing this is been a phenomenon across the area. I've spoken to multiple other districts. This is the same phenomenon in elementary districts as well as in high school districts. So something is happening, and obviously we do have a task force that our assistant superintendent, Dr. Jaren Free, is leading, is the Chronic Absenteeism Attendance Recovery Task Force. So this is an advisory committee to address and mitigate the impact of declining attendance rate. And the committee is made up of principals, assistant principals, teachers, counselors, classified staff, including attendance secretary, FACES, and nurse, and as well as district office staff. And they have been reviewing data relating to attendance by target groups. And they have identified strategic steps for targeted groups. It's called the Success Monitoring Teams. And the group, I know that at each school site, they have a team that is developing recommendations, and really the goal is to improve the attendance by the end of this month, which was the P2 cutoff day. And so we are monitoring this work, and so thank you so much to Dr. Jaren Free and your team, and especially in student services. I know that Dr. Hernandez and his staff have been working really hard on this task force, so thank you so much for all the hard work, as well as the people at the school side. So thank you for doing that. So with that attendance rate, we have now then reduced our projections moving forward. So the blue bar is what it was prior, and then as you can see, they're pretty big, deep for current year at this point. And obviously, our enrollment is going down, so therefore, when we put in the new percent for 91% in the multi-year out, the ADA is coming down. So for our budget assumptions, as you can see here, this is our current year plus the next 3 years. And as you will see, our declining enrollment this year is about 731, and next year we're projected to decline about another almost 724. But if you look at the third year out, the decline will be more than 1,100 students at 1,152, and then the third year out from this point at this point, it's another almost 1,100 students. So 1,100 students, if you can think about how many they are, is almost like the size of a junior high school. So considering we are almost declining a junior high school each year, that's what we're facing with at this point. So the budget assumptions for second interim, as you will see here, current year, our LCFF is at 6.56%. The augmentation, this is the add-on, is 6.28. So that went onto our base funding. The categorical programs, unfortunately, only received the 6.56% COLA and not the augmentation. However, if you look at the out years, we're extremely excited about the COLA of 8.13%. And we've been here also that number may change, and obviously the higher it will be better, right? That means our base funding will go up, and we are extremely excited. The governor has made a commitment to fund that cost of living adjustment, which we are extremely excited about, and so that's a number that we are really going to target at this point. But if you see some of the other numbers that I do want to point out is the PERS, which is the classified retirement system. since some of the funding has not been as good on the reinvestment side, so you can take a look at that. The current year is at 25.37%. The PERS rate is now going up to 27% next year, and then going up to 28% the year after, and then continue to go up as well. So that will be something that that means it would cost more money to fund that retirement for that. Something that we are considering looking at. And these numbers will get adjusted at some point when they release those numbers. So the second interim report, this point, our total revenue for the year is projected to be at $619 million, as you will see. Bulk of our money is the LCFF, local control funding formula. That's the bulk of the money. We do have some federal dollars coming in as well as some other categorical dollars with the state funding. And our total expenditure for current year is projected at about $543 million at this point. As you can see, bulk of our expenditures is really on staffing, right? The salaries and benefits of our staff. So as you will see here, for our current, our multi-year projection, a second interim, the changing fund imbalance, we're actually bringing $76 million for current year. But we see the out years for projected numbers for next year in 23-24, we will be deficit spending in that fiscal year, as well as in 25-26. So that's the reason why, at this point, want to make sure that board is aware of that at this point. We do have some of the commitments for the fund balance, as you will see here, for the 22-23 second interim. So we have the PERS increases, that's some of the costs that we do have to accrue for those. And then we also have some of the STRS increases as well. There's also the school side carryover, about $1 million. Some technology set aside for Eric and his team, that's about $2.4 million. And there are some other projects that we have anticipated at this point. So there are the facilities projects, and as well as some of the facilities escalation. We do know that things are they're more expensive at this point, so we did have set aside money for that. And I know this is a little bit small, but this is the pandemic funding summary. So we have a slide here to show you. So overall, in some of the funding, we are projected to receive about $227 million. And of today, we have spent almost $100 million at this point. We still have a balance of about $132 million. And some of the projects that are still in the works as well, I know Patty's working on with her team diligently, and some of the HVAC upgrades, as those were part of the plan to do some of the work, and so those are being planned, and I think they're coming in already. Some of the schools are already have contractors ready to work on them during spring break, I believe. So we're very, very excited about that. So that was the intent for the ESSER money, to be able to upgrade some of the air quality in the classrooms as well. So we're using some of the money for that as well. So at this point, tonight, we are bringing to board with a positive certification. That means we are able to meet our current year and our next 2 years of obligation. And we're actually showing you for the next 3 years that we will be balanced at this point. In May, we'll be receiving the May revised, but I do want to caution, at that point, those numbers are not going to be the numbers that we are going to be getting. Those are just going to be very, very projected numbers. And so we really have to wait until probably like November or some at that point to get those numbers at that point. But we will be bringing our budget to the board in June, and with the board adopt the LCAP and the budget on June 15th. So that's our current goal for now. And I'm now happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding the second interim report.
Anybody have any questions? Yes.
Just a comment. For those who might be scratching their head and saying, wait a minute, we just talked about having funds and we're building, and then we're talking about, declining enrollment. Can you just kind of give a brief synopsis about the different funding sources that we have, one-time money versus ongoing money.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah. So, for example, right now, all the different amazing work that you've seen that Patty and her team has done, those are mostly generated from the bond dollars that the voters approved for Measure H, and so those have to be spent according to the how it was passed back at that point. And so, as you can see that, and Patty and her team has also gone out for state funding. Those are state matching funds, and those dollars have to be spent on facility-related projects. Right, so those are extremely important that we do understand. Those money cannot be spent on administrative salaries, teacher salary. Those money cannot be spent for that. The money that we have received here, they're general fund dollars. But even in the general fund dollars, we do have some restricted dollars that said you can only spend money on certain categories. And so bulk of our money, and which we have shown here, is the local control funding formula, LCFF. Those are unrestricted money that we do get. And bulk of those money are to pay for staffing. So we do have other funds in our school district. For example, we also have a cafeteria fund, and those monies are only for food services, right? As Orlando can tell you. And they have even more stringent guidelines what money can be spent for. And so each dollar that we receive, we do have to track them. We break it down by unrestricted categories. Those are, you can spend on anything, and then the restricted categories as well. So it's very critical that we do know which pot of money and then which ones. And the ones, a lot of the one-time dollar that you have seen on there, those are one-time, right? And so we did hire a lot of staff for that. We also have some of the different things that we are doing as well, upgrading the equipment. And, you know, during COVID, when COVID was at its peak, we used money to buy different supplies that we needed. We purchased a lot of different things that we needed at that time. And so really those money are targeted for that at this point. So those are one-time dollars, so people have to, they feel like, well, we still have a lot of money left, but it's really one time. And once you spend it, it's gone, right? So it's not a base funding. And because we're also declining enrollment, our funding is really not going much higher if we are actually stabilizing enrollment. Then when we get our, the cost of living adjustment, we will be getting more money. Unfortunately, we are declining enrollment, and then the double whammy is our attendance rate has dropped. So from first interim, when we did the presentation to the board, we were still at that time, the report didn't come back yet. We presented, that was financials as of October 31st, and we were still projecting a 95%. So I did talk to a lot of my other colleagues, other CBOs in our area. This attendance issue is, it's really, really tough for people, and there's different conversation about, do we lobby to go get funded based on enrollment and not attendance? Mm-hmm. Because regardless if you show up to school, we still have to hire staff to support that student. And so I think this is something that we all have, as a group, have to really start lobbying for some of these items, because we cannot, I mean, at this point, 91%, we really devastated our budget when we changed that assumption. And, you know, I know that with everyone working so hard, all the schools, I've seen signs in our schools. I think Kennedy High School was, come today, dream tomorrow. There's like all these different signs everywhere. So I'm super excited that they're encouraging kids to come to school every single day. Even if you can come in for one period, just come and check in. We'll get funding for you. So unless you're really sick, please stay home. But if you can just even come, we can get money for that. So, you know, I have to be very proud. You know, my kids, 100% ADA. It's like, you know, every day. I mean, I'm like, unless you're not feeling well, but you could go to school, you know, every single day. But, you know, I'm a little tougher like that as a mother. But, but my kids, perfect attendance from kindergarten till she's in 9th grade right now. So yeah. So, but, you know, because I do know it costs, it's money. I'm like, please, sweetie, please go to school.
I really appreciate you doing that, because I know it's kind of confusing, the different pockets of money that we have and the restrictions that we have on spending that. And attendance is an issue, and we really need to, really, whoever's out there listening, come to school. We really need you. So
yes, please come unless you're sick.
Matter.
Attendance matters, and so those signs are everywhere on campuses, so I really appreciate that.
Ms. Guerrero?
Yes, I had a question on the chronic absenteeism attendance task force.
Yes.
Would they be making recommendations to the school or to the district, to the board?
So Dr. Jeffrey is,
Dr. Freed,
yes, please, thank you.
So we recently had our first meeting, and we actually came up with some recommendations that we then met with the principals and shared with them, and they're working with their site teams that Nancy referenced to actually make those recommendations happen. There's two different things at play. There's the short-term response and there's a long-term response. So what we've been working on really is the short-term response, but we actually yesterday met with our teacher input group and we talked about the same issue and we talked about some of the long-term responses that we can do. So we're going to be bringing some ideas forward around short-term independent study and a few things that we can do strategically to capture ADA in a way that we haven't been or taken advantage of. So a lot of that's been happening, and then we're going to be providing an update to the board in terms of the work that we've been doing both at the site level and the district level to really get out in front of the absenteeism, both on the chronic absenteeism side and the ADA side.
Okay.
And I do wanted to take the time to thank Joe Sedona. I know that he works extremely hard on the Saturday Academy, so thank you so much, Joe, because that does help us with also recovering our attendance as well. So thank you so much. Please make sure that Joe knows that.
Yes, Miss?
Curious about the lottery, because when we voted on it in California, it was sold to the public that it would increase a lot of money for our schools, and it is such a wimpy amount of money that we get. It's pathetic.
It's very, very low. And so, yeah, so when people ask, oh, I buy a lottery for school. Yeah, so we do not get that much. And some of the lotteries are actually restricted programs. So it's not even in general fund. There are pockets that is, but then there's some of them that is actually restricted dollars as well.
Nancy, you should shake hands with Patty. You two women are beyond awesome. You're really remarkable human beings, what you do. And I said tonight in closed session that the general public does not have an understanding or a clue of the complexity of running schools. It is such a huge endeavor. And I look at people sitting out here and the jobs that you all do. The public doesn't even have a grasp of what you all accomplish. And just from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you to all of you people. It's just quite something special.
Dr. Neen, go along with that, the attendance issue. You have 91%, and we're talking about trying to increase it. So just, can you throw out a number?
Yes,
that
definitely.
If you increase the attendance by 1%, what does that mean to us?
So it's approximately, and then the state also changed the funding recently. So in the prior years, it was current year or prior year, whichever is greater. But now it's different. It's current year, prior year, or average of the 3 years. And so, but overall, I can give you a figure. So we're looking about maybe, if we increase 1%, right, over 4 years, our increase will be about $15 million is a net. And so even 1%, okay, I know it may not seem, but it's like, like what Dr. Jeremy Free tells everybody, just 20 kids at each school site, right? So if we just really focusing on certain pockets of the students, we can really get that.
Yeah, that 1%, that's very important to us.
Yes, but I think the problem is right now is there's different things going on, still, and so this is like, because last year we came back, we were still at 95%. So the fact that something happened between what happened last year, or maybe they're so excited to come back, they wanted to be here every day, and all suddenly something happened and they're just not coming. And so I think what Dr. Free had said was, looking at those kids who were absent more than 10 days, like what's happening with these kids,
We
really
need to
identify those.
make it clear as well to the board and to our audience that this is a phenomenon across the state of California. And our 91%, to the credit of our teachers on the front line, is better than most of our sister districts. It's bad, but we're in better shape, and thank you to all the hardworking teachers and staff that we have at the sites.
Look, I think the program we have, Capturing Kids' Hearts, is important to the district, and it's showing, like what Superintendent just said, we're doing better than most districts. And
Yes, we are.
that's part of that.
Yeah, there are months where, the first couple months, my colleagues are texting me and said, my attendance dipped below 90% today, and we haven't gotten to that point. And so these are K-12, and you would think elementary school kids come to school more often, but their districts, they're below 90% for unified school districts. So we're doing much better, but I think we have some room to improve.
We were talking about funding a little while ago about having it where it's not actually in the general fund, and I was looking at page 12 with the pandemic funding, which is $132 million balance. So there's a lot of categories sitting there, funding sources. What can you use that money for?
So it depends which pot of money, right? And so, for example, with the ESSER dollars, that's ESSER number 3, and we already committed those funds already to do the HVAC upgrades as well as some of the security gating, and some of the things that we have said already in our part of our plan, and those all have been approved by the CD at this point, right, Patty? Yeah.
Okay.
So those, yeah, so as well as outdoor learning areas as well. So those we have spent money. We put in initially. Remember when when COVID first started, we put in a lot of different shelters out there. So those are some of the money has already been spent.
Another big pot was LREBG, whatever that is.
Learning Loss Recovery Emergency Block Grant. So that one is basically it's restricted programs, but you can spend it on different things, equipment. You can spend it on health benefits. You can spend it on pretty much. The restriction is not as much, so you can use that money for that.
Okay, all right.
Can I ask, what does that stand for? That's
Learning Loss Recovery Emergency Block Grant.
Okay. I was looking at the others and making sense, but that one stumped me, so.
Okay, so the other caveat is this. For example, the Arts and Music Block Grant. We initially projected $17 million, and we got cut 36%, so we had to bring that down. So the issue we're running into is this. The money that we have not received from the state, we are uncertain if those money will be coming. So these are just projected at this point. So, we are concerned. Some of them, they already gave us like 50%, so I think 50% we can keep. But if they have not gotten here, we are concerned that if the state continue to have a deficit, is a possibility that they could cut some of these categorical dollars. And so that's why we are a little bit sensitive. We did have to reduce some of the pots already at this point.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Thank you for your
Thank you,
report.
team.
Very good job.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Very nice job. Next is 9.3, Home to School Transportation Reimbursement Plan. And I think Roxana Hernandez and Scott Sengren is going to make a presentation. I don't think we have anything here.
Got to raise the mic a little bit. All right, good evening. My name is Scott Sengren. I'm the Director of Transportation. And I want to start by thanking Board President Mr. Brian ONeill, members of the board, Superintendent Matsuda, Cabinet, and our public for the opportunity to share information about our Transportation Department and our Home to School Reimbursement Transportation Plan. It's not as exciting as the facilities, but it serves a purpose. We have a tough act to follow, so. Some background information. The Home to School Reimbursement Act was implemented by Assembly Bill 181 and amended by Assembly Bill 185. It provides reimbursement funding for school districts based on the prior year eligible transportation expenditures. This allows AUHSD to receive 60% reimbursement of our transportation costs. In the 2021-2022 school year, AUHSD's total transportation expenses were approximately $7,659,000. Our estimated reimbursement will be $3,868,000. We feel very fortunate. We feel very fortunate about this possible reimbursement. In consultation with educational partners, the Transportation Department has put together a home-to-school transportation plan that describes services provided to unduplicated students, EL, foster youth, and low income, homeless youth, and students with disabilities. AUHSD has always considered the needs of our important subgroups in our education planning. This is especially evident when it comes to transportation. Before going into details about the proposed plan, I would like to provide some context about our Transportation Department. We don't get recognized enough as far as I'm concerned, so let me talk about this just a second. The AUHSD Transportation Department takes immense pride in transporting students to and from school on a daily basis. Here at AUHSD, we have 91 buses, 78 are low to zero emission buses, and we have currently 65 routes with students on board. Last year, our buses traveled approximately 656,000 miles, and we proudly transported 1,859 students, 952 in general education and 907 in special education. We are very proud of the work we have been able to accomplish. I would now like to hand it over to Roxana to go over some of the details from our Home to School Transportation Plan.
So thank you, Scott. Esteemed board, superintendent, cabinet, and community, I am happy to share details about our home-to-school reimbursement transportation plan. In order to receive reimbursement, school districts are required to develop a transportation plan and receive board approval on or before April 1st. The plan we developed is guided by our AUHSD transportation board policies, which emphasize meeting the needs of our important subgroups. For our general education students, inclusive of our unduplicated students, low-income, English learners, foster youth, AUHSD has designed transportation routes and stops within the district boundaries. Our students can access transportation services to and from school when the distance between their designated school bus stop and the school is beyond the minimum 2.5 miles, and that is aligned with our board policy. Last year, 907 general education students were provided busing, with the majority of our ridership coming primarily from schools with an 82% or higher low-income rate. In terms of our foster youth students, our Director of School Mental Health and Wellness, McKinney-Vento Foster Youth Programs, coordinates the identification and monitoring of our foster youth students that live and attend schools within our district boundaries. Our Director of School Mental Health and Wellness works closely with the Transportation Department to provide the best mode of transportation option for our foster youth students. The transportation plan is also aligned with board policy for our students with disabilities. At AUHSD, students with disabilities are provided transportation services that are determined by their unique needs and in accordance with their individualized education plan, their IEP. Student Youth Services collaborates with transportation to coordinate these services specified in a student's IEP, and transportation is provided at no cost to students, parents, and/or guardians. As Scott mentioned earlier, we bused 907 students with disabilities last year. The district also provides home-to-school transportation services for our homeless youth. Students designated as homeless are identified, monitored, and serviced by our School and Mental Health Wellness McKinney-Vento Foster Youth Program. Again, under the direction of our Director of School Mental Health and Wellness, our staff work to ensure that our homeless students are transported to and from school as necessary. And this can be accomplished by providing a free bus pass to our public bus system, contracting with a non-public transportation provider, or transporting our homeless youth on one of our existing AUHSD bus routes. The AUHSD Home-to-School Reimbursement Transportation Plan summarizes the work that our transportation department conducts on a daily basis. We feel very fortunate that we have been guided by our existing transportation board policy to provide these services to our students. I would be remiss if I did not take advantage of this opportunity to thank our transportation department. On the heels of National School Bus Driver Appreciation Day, which passed on February 22nd, we really want to take this time to say thank you to our transportation department and our dedicated bus drivers that make sure our students are transported safely and on time every day. So we love and appreciate the work that you do. I do want to acknowledge Rob Lewis, our supervisor of transportation, and Norma, one of our bus drivers that is here with us today. So thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Lastly, we aren't going to show this video, but we do want to highlight and recommend that our community take the time to watch our AUHSD transportation video. It provides a glimpse of the great work being done by our amazing AUHSD transportation team. And our video can be viewed on our AUHSD Communications YouTube page. And that pretty much concludes our time, so thank you. It's been an honor, and Scott and I are here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? I have some, if nobody.
Just a lot more you do a lot more than just get our kids to and from school. There are the games, activities. I got driven to LA the other day to go see the opera. You know, I think you even take, like, if you do a CIF, you know, you're leaving Orange County or LA County, sometimes, you know, across the state a little bit. And what I also love is when we have a big event, like our college and career, you know, getting our parents and their guardians to, like, the convention center. There's just so much more that our drivers do every day, and they're the first contact with our students every morning and the last in the evening for some of our students. And so we really appreciate you. You come to meetings when you're invited to, in the community to speak, and so we really appreciate all that you do. So thank you on behalf of the board, and you know, let everyone know that we really appreciate you.
I had a question about the 2.5 miles. That's from the bus stop to the school. If it's more than 2.5 miles, then a student can ride a bus?
That is correct. That's as the crow flies, 2.5 miles.
Okay.
But there's a couple of stops, like Ponderosa Park was within that distance because of the freeway. And the board, I believe the board back in 89 decided that that would be a stop for that, for
Right.
Catella and South.
Yeah.
So that's the reason they do that.
Now, is the 2.5 miles, is that just the district's decision, or is it EDCO decision?
That's the district decision.
So we could
I
have
know
it at
some
3 miles,
districts-
or we could have it at 2 miles?
I think some districts I've seen like 1.5 miles.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's up to you and your decision on the distance from
Okay,
school.
thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe for Dr. Nean, the difference in income versus expense is almost $4 million, and that is just, that comes out of our general fund.
Yes, so this is, I mean, we're super excited since we have not been funded really much. I mean, we've been funded about $700,000 a year forever. And so the fact that you're actually reimbursing us, we're very excited.
And this is only the state fund, or is there any federal involved
So
in that?
no, there's only state funding for this portion only, and we are already bringing this money already in a second interim to balance our budget at this point.
So there's no funding through the federal government for this?
Not for, this is the home to school transportation,
Yes.
no, it's
there-
through
there's none.
state funding.
I mean, throughout the United States, there's no home-to-school funding for, out of the federal funds.
No, like, all these are through the state right at this point, yeah.
Have we,
So.
this is maybe a stupid question, but have we investigated federal
So
funds?
there are federal funding for special education, but that's all under IDEA. So which we do have some category dollar from the federal government, but since those don't pay enough already, then we transfer the expenses into our district portion, right? Which is part of our expenses, and we do not receive funding either, enough funding in special education. So all these programs, we make a contribution into transportation, into all special education program. So no, the funding we are finally getting, which is, it's amazing to get this money already as it is. I've been in the industry for over 20 years, and most people, we have never seen this kind of money before, so we're very excited. And this money is already budgeted as part of the second interim. The county already asked us to budget for it.
Okay, good, thank you.
So I have to give a shout out to our organization, the CESBA, and I think AXA, and I think the CSEA all have been lobbying, you know, our state legislators for years and years and years, but we really hammered this, you know, bus transportation cost in the last couple of years. And so I'm really glad to actually see that it's happening.
Yeah, it's the first time I'm seeing it in 20 years, and so it's great. But yeah, I mean, I guess we can always use some of the IDEA money to pay for this, but that's not enough money either, so it's just not enough. Yeah, we just don't have enough money, so for the
We'll
programs.
continue the work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to educational services. We have 10.1, home to school transportation reimbursement plan.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion on it? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. 10.2, school sponsor student organization.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion about the astronomy club? All right. And
Stars in their eyes. I just had to say that.
all right, Ms. Piercy. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's 6-0, thank you. Resolution number 2022/23-B-10, adjustments to income and expenditures, general fund, and resolution number 2022-23-B-11, adjustments to income and expenditures, various funds, and the 22-23 second interim report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. That was a mouthful. Any questions, concerns, discussion? Okay,
good
seeing none.
presentation.
Ms. Guerrero?
Aye.
Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Next, resolution number 2022/23-F-08, approval of notice of exemption for the Catella High School Pool Restoration/Rehabilitation Project.
So moved.
Second.
Very good. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, roll call. Ms. Guerrero?
Aye.
Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
I vote aye, 5-0. Resolution number 2022/23-E-19, Autism Awareness Month.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, not all in favor. Ms. Guerrero?
Aye.
Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
I vote aye, 5-0. 10.6, resolution number 2022-23-E-20, Cesar Chavez Day.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Good job.
Good job.
Say that 3 times.
Cesar Chavez
Chavez Day.
All right. Ms. Guerrero?
Aye.
Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
And I vote aye, 5-0. Resolution number 2022-23-E-21, National Child Abuse Prevention Month.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Ms. Guerrero?
Aye.
Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
And I vote aye. 10.8, resolution number 2022-23-E-22, Arab American Heritage Month.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Guerrero?
Aye.
Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
And Ms. Smith?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That's 5-0. Resolution number 22/23-HR-03, Certificated Reduction in Force, and this is 10.9 on the agenda.
Sadly, so moved.
Second.
Unfortunate, I understand. I think we all are in agreement with
It's
this.
a hard time of year. This is,
It
and-
sure is.
But hopefully it will change and we will go back up again. I've been around long enough to see the numbers go up, then go down, then come back up again. So hang in there, everybody. It's got to get better.
Yep. Ms. Guerrero?
Yeah. Can I ask a question?
Oh, sure.
I just wanted for clarification to the public and maybe, I know we've been briefed on it, but specifically why the education and physical education departments are being reduced.
Yes, thank you. Well, first of all, when we talk about a reduction in force, I'd like to take just a quick moment just to acknowledge the human component. All of the great things that our district does is made up of just an incredible partnership between our employees and students and families and the larger community. And, each and every one of our employees comes each and every day and they bring dedication and caring and love for our students and our families, and they make a difference. So that's not lost on the cabinet, and I know it's not lost on the board. When we plan for funding or staffing each year, staffing represents about 85% of our budget, and kind of on the tail end of the presentation that Dr. Neen just gave, we're facing right now year over year pretty substantial numbers in terms of declining enrollment, and also some really kind of unexpected and significant numbers in decline in daily attendance, which is how it is that we're funded. And so, when we plan for our staffing in a given year, as our ASTA president, indicated, we've avoided this for, the last 6 years. We have found creative ways to even maintain additional staff in a number of these areas, and we'll continue to do so. We will continue to consider and look for creative ways to maintain folks. In the areas of English and PE, normally when you have declining enrollment and you have declining staff proportional to that enrollment, you're able to absorb that through some creative methods, through people leaving the district, perhaps retirements, perhaps things like that. And sometimes we come into a couple of areas where we have a more significant number of folks beyond the staffing that is required. And given the cost that's associated with that, sometimes, there is a reduction in forces is needed. But again, we're going to continue to look at this and continue to collaborate, and hopefully we can find some creative ways, in the future to be able to bring some of those folks back.
Appreciate you answering that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Guerrero, for asking the question. And from what I'm hearing, we have only 2 areas. As sensitive as this is, I know other districts are just kind of doing a blanket, in all areas, trying to cover themselves. So we really are being sensitive and only doing where it is needed. So thank you for that.
Yes.
Still painful, though.
Yes.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, Ms. Guerrero,
Aye. Aye.
Ms. Piercy,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo,
Aye.
and I vote aye. 5-0. 10.10, resolution number 2022-23, HR-04, classified reduction in force.
Again, sadly, I'll approve. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Nobody wants to pass that one or move that one, any one of them.
No, I agree. Any questions?
Yes. I know with this reduction in force, with the college and career readiness specialist and the community school liaison, how will we ensure that those resources and services are still provided to students?
Yeah, that's a great question. I first want to acknowledge the great work that our college career readiness specialists and our community liaisons have been doing. Tremendous asset to our team, and it is incredibly unfortunate that the one-time COVID funds that we were using to fund are no longer going to be available. Prior to them being here, our counselors were really supporting a lot of the work that the college career specialists took on or took off their plates to support during the couple of years that we were funding these positions. And same thing with our community liaisons. Our faces were often taking on a lot of those responsibilities. We're fortunate now with our 13 community schools, and hopefully, fingers crossed, Grant, 20 community schools. We also have now a really larger team to support that work. So we'll have to look at as an ed division how we redistribute the duties and responsibilities that they were taking on during these last couple of years back to the counselors with the college career specialists, and then with our faces, and even perhaps our community school coordinators, even community school teacher leads in terms of what that might look like. So there's some work that we'll need to do in terms of revisiting that distribution of duties, but it is a tremendous loss. And like Brad said, if we're able to, and we're finding creative ways to be able to sustain that, we would.
Thank you. I just want to comment, as a first-time board member, it is difficult, but I appreciate all the work that our certified and classified staff put into our students in schools.
Thank you. Any more comments? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Guerrero,
Aye.
Ms. Piercy.
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo,
Aye.
and I vote aye. 1011, resolution number 2022-23-BOT-03, supporting the addition of a 9th indicator to the California College and Career dashboard.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
We just get a quick explanation.
We're really excited about this. As you know, as a district that prides itself on innovation and really whole child approach, deeper learning approach education, as you know, our dashboard, our current dashboard, is very connected to state testing. There's 8 college indicator or 8 indicators on the dashboard, all of which are connected to the SBAC testing. So even A through G is an example, which Cal State Fullerton or the Cal State system and the UC system A through G, just passing A's, B's, and C's in college designated courses is enough to be deemed college ready in their eyes. In the dashboard, you also have the connected to an SBAC score. So much higher bar than even the Cal State and UC system has. So for us, this is a way to leverage, by adding this ninth indicator, it really allows and leaves cover for other districts to support whole child education in a way where they can connect it to the state seal of education, right, or state seal of engagement, where students are engaging in the 5 C's really to do work around civics or local issues they might care about, and through that sophistication can connect it to their content. So.
Just like to also acknowledge Assemblywoman Sharon Quirk Silva, who has agreed to sponsor this bill. So more to come. We're really, really excited about Anaheim Union out in front of this.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Guerrero?
Aye.
Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
And I vote aye. 10.12, resolution number 2022-23-BOT-04, land acknowledgement.
Slow move. Second.
Well, you guys were all quick to approve those,
I
not the
know.
first other
I
two.
know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Let me read a little bit of our resolution here. We respectfully acknowledge that the Anaheim Union High School District is located on the ancestral land of, I know I'm going to butcher this, but I apologize, Gabrielino Tongva people. We gratefully acknowledge those on whose ancestral homelands we gather, as well as the diverse and vibrant Native communities who make their home here today. So that is part of our resolution. So with that said, any comments?
Yes, I just was also very excited about this. I know some of our school sites, including Anaheim High School, already has their land acknowledgement in some of their libraries and main offices. So very excited to be putting this on. Very excited for this to be on the agenda tonight.
Good, great. See, okay.
What I love about this is that, you know, we had our kind of discourse, you know, last year with the naming, but this is something that we're learning and we're improving, and you know, where we can do things, this is what I love about our district. You know, we move forward, and we don't just give it lip service, and we're not show ponies. This really means something. So I really appreciate this resolution being brought forward, because I know it means a lot to the folks that truly understand what this means. So it is an important acknowledgement for us. Well, thank you.
Thank you for your explanation. Okay, seeing no more comments, okay. Ms. Guerrero?
Aye.
Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That's 5-0. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. 10.13, ratification leaseback agreement, Byram Davy, Inc., Anaheim Union High School District Field Improvement, RFP number 2022-28.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this?
Jessica.
Questions?
Oh, aye. Oh, no, sorry. I thought you were calling my name.
No, no. No question? Okay, all in favor, say
No question.
Aye.
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 Opposed? 5-0. Okay. 10.14, ratification, leaseback agreement, Byram Davy, Inc., Catella High School Pool, RFP number 2022-28.
So moved.
Second?
Motion is second. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's 5-0. Ratification leaseback agreement, Byram Davy, Inc., Western High School Athletic Field Improvement, RFP number 2022-28.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's 5-0. Next, 10.16, award of bid, food services.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any question? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0. 10.17, independent contractor agreement, Dr. John On.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's 5-0. 1018, agreement, Canfield Productions, Inc.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any question? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. 10.19, this is a ratification. Independent contractor agreement, Ujima Dance Ensemble.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any questions?
I was able to actually attend the third annual AUHSD Black History Month celebration, so it was really great to see the performance. This is there. And thank you to the Black Lives Matter Task Force that put that together.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, anybody else? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's 5-0. 10.20, Contract Independent Transition Assessment, Ignite Collective, Inc., Molly K. Rurik Day, ED.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. 10.21, Independent Contractor Agreement, Us Again, USA Gain. I don't know if it's Us Again or Use Again? Okay, Use Again. All right.
So moved.
It's in front of you.
Second.
Wait a minute, which one
Any-
are we
any
on,
comments?
1019?
Yes, 1021.
1021.
How did I get? Oh,
I don't know. Where have you been?
Oh.
Okay.
You've been saying aye to
I was
things
gonna
that
say,
you
wait a
don't even know.
minute, what's going, I had an extra page in there, sorry.
All right, we're on 1021.
Okay,
You want a
gotcha.
second?
No, we have a motion in a second. Yeah.
You do,
Yes.
okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. I love it. 10.22, Agreements, District Choral Festival.
Aye.
So moved.
So
Second. We're getting
Any questions?
Aye.
God, what time is it? It's getting punchy already.
Okay, she's voted
All
already.
right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Thank you. 1023, Grant Acceptance Agreement, the Mr. Holland's Opus Foundation, Catella High School.
So moved.
Second.
second.
Motion
I
and a
love the
second?
name, Miss-
Yeah,
you know,
I know it.
This Mr. Holland's
It's
Opus.
Opus,
you know,
yes.
it's
I like
just-
to meet him.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. 1024, Public Hearing, Disclosure of Collective Bargaining, Agreement with MMA. So we open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak? Seeing none, close the public hearing. 1025, Adoption of the 2022-23 Collective Bargaining Agreement with MMA.
So moved.
Second.
Motion a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Consent calendar. Anybody wishing to pull any items?
Yes. Can I pull 11.5?
11.5? Okay. Anybody else? I'm pulling 11.4 CC.
Move for the balance.
Thank you.
No DD?
No DD.
Okay.
Just 11.4
Just CC?
11.4 CC. And 11.5, which is already pulled.
Okay.
So we have a
I'll-
motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Very good. Okay, 11.5.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Guerrero?
Oh, I was going to abstain.
Okay.
Sorry.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain.
Aye.
Aye. That's 302. 11.4 CC.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And one abstention. Aye. Me. Okay. Moving on to number 12, Superintendent and Staff Report.
I have no report.
I had no report tonight.
No report.
Wow.
No report tonight, thank you.
No report?
No report.
Okay, all right. So now we can go down to 8 to 15 adjournment? Oh. I tried. Board and staff report. Board of trustees report. Number 13.
Okay.
Ms. Guerrero.
Thank you. These past couple weeks, I had the opportunity to meet and greet with the student ambassadors. I know some of the photos are in the report, so appreciate that. I also attended the AUHSD 3rd Annual Black History Month celebration, the 8th Annual Girls Engineering Day at Dale Junior High School, and I want to give a shout out to retired Dale Junior High School teacher, Phyllis Fukumoto, who has been instrumental in making that event happen and continues to volunteer even through her retirement. I also participated in Sycamore Junior High School's High School Readiness Week that the counselors put together for our junior high students as they prepare to transition into 9th grade. I also had the opportunity to attend the Every Student Succeeding Awards breakfast at Cypress, where 3 of our AUHSD students were recognized, and I attended the Saturday Academy Mindfulness Workshop organized by the student ambassadors, and had a singing duo with Trustee Anne-Marie Trejo. And then I had site visits to Savannah High School, Brookers Junior High School, Laura High School, Hope School, and Western High School. And I know I kind of joke about it, but at Western High School they have, they're our biggest rival from Anaheim High School, and they currently have the Bell. So they let me visit the Bell when I attended the site. So appreciate them letting me visit the Bell with the football coach there. And then I would also like to take the time to highlight the upcoming 125th anniversary of Anaheim High School. We are very excited to celebrate the school's 125th history, and we'll be having our celebration next week on March 16th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. And I want to give a shout out to the maintenance staff that worked to locate and dig the 1998 time capsule that took about 2 days to find. So we appreciate the work, and we are very excited to celebrate the 125th anniversary of my alma mater. So and that concludes my report.
All right.
Thank you.
Ms.
Very
Percy.
good. All right. Let's see. I attended the Strategic Arts Plan meeting held in the PDC. Very interesting. I kind of, it's great we've got all that money. And we've got enough people involved that we're going to spend it really well and really boost the arts, which is phenomenal. I also attended the student discipline meeting, which was interesting, and had a little hard time getting on it, but that's because of 2 different emails. Okay. Then on Sunday, I was able to meet the WASP committee that is working at Cypress High School. And I have to say this, I enjoyed meeting them and talking with them and answering some questions, but the part I enjoyed the most was sitting in the meeting they had with the parents that had attended. They wouldn't let anybody else come in, it was just the parents. But I said, but I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent, I had a student there, so I said, I can go sit in. So I did. I'm really glad I did, because listening to the parents and the comments they had made me feel really good. And they had a lot of positive comments about the school, the teachers, the administrators, and I wanted to attend the next meeting during that week, as I asked them to send me the schedule. I wanted to attend the next meeting they had with the students, where they asked the students, with just the committee and the students. Unfortunately, I got sick, so I wasn't able to go, but I really learned a lot, and I'm really glad I did go and was able to be involved in that. So.
Were you in that meeting?
I was in the student meeting, yeah.
Did you say good things?
Oh, it was phenomenal. Committee meeting afterward, they were discussing about the student meeting in total, because it was every student from every part of the school, the athletic, more like.
Was it mostly positive, or?
Oh, we had no negatives.
No negatives.
No
Okay.
one had anything negative to say. I was like,
That
wow.
is such a good report. I mean, it just makes you feel really good. And I mean, and in the parents that were in the meeting, their students were not the A students. And they had students who had problems. This one parent, unfortunately, her son is now at Sunburst Academy, but she had nothing negative to say about anybody. Instead, the opposite, because they helped her with her son and what was happening. So it's just, that's tremendous. I was really, really pleased. So,
Good.
yeah. And that's about all I did.
Ms. Percy? I mean, Ms. Smith? Excuse me. I'm looking at Ms. Percy. Ms. Smith?
Well, the gentleman that does the food service for our district. I can't think of his name.
Orlando.
Is he here? Orlando, is he
Orlando's
here?
right there. Wait.
There he is.
Oh, I saw you earlier, and I was hoping that you would hear what I had to say. I spoke to a seventh grader at one of our junior highs that I know very well, and I asked him about the food service, the meals. And you don't have to grimace because I can't tell you how overjoyed. This young man is not very verbal, and I have to practically draw the words out of him. He couldn't say enough wonderful things about the food service. The fresh fruit, the vegetables, the preparation, the whole enchilada.
What
as they
school is that,
say.
Ms. Smith? Do you know?
I'm not going to say.
Oh, okay.
I just feel like I want to keep that to myself. I'll share it with you privately. But it spoke volumes to me because he's missed a lot of school this year, and I find it very distressing to hear about young people developing today and trying to become young people and grow and mature and move on to the next step, and it's so difficult. And that, to me, was just such a high note for me for this year because of this individual. So I want to thank you because I think it's very emblematic what is going on in the other schools with the meals. So thank you.
Thank you for letting me know, and I'll let my staff know.
Well,
I appreciate that.
it's a wonderful thing. And I wanted to thank the administration for the information about non-school sponsored events. They have them listed here of where our school folks are going on tours for spring break, and Washington, D.C., and Santa Clara, and Palm Springs, and Indio, and it's just so meaningful because these young people are growing and learning more, and what wonderful way to learn about life than to travel and be with your cohorts and your peers and enjoy life. So I appreciate that. And as I drive by schools, I'm very heartened. I drive by Dale, Loera, Magnolia, Ball, and they all just look so lovely. And it's such a big part of our community that our schools look lovely. And today, coming to the board meeting, I had a shock of a lifetime. I can't think of the name of the Catholic girls' school on Magnolia. Cornelia Conley, thank you.
What used to be Cornelia.
It was taken down about a year or two ago, and it was beyond shocking. It looked like hundreds of small boxes, which I guess are going to be apartments. And I don't know who'll be living in them. I'm driving at 25 miles an hour and looking, and I'm going to go over and park and just kind of take it in and see if I can find out what is behind this, because I don't know how it's going to affect our school district. Who is going to be living in these very small units? So it's just change. And I just happened to see it coming to the board meeting tonight. And then I got a call from a teacher over at Cambridge Academy about a clothing drive that they were having Saturday. And my husband and I drove over, and the gentleman brought the ASB president over to meet me. And I was awed by what I saw going on, the amount of collections that they were taking in, how they were separating them and preparing them. And the intent is that they're going to give them to people in the community, and then some are going to go to Ukraine, And then they said the others are planning to send them to Sri Lanka. And our former board member, Al Jabbar, is from Sri Lanka. And that country, that island, when you look at it up on the map, it doesn't look very big, but it's in a lot of harm's way and has been for some time. So anyway, I just want to share what young people are doing today and giving back to their community and asking people to participate and be a community. So that's it, and just thank you one and all for being here and for the scarf, too. That was really sweet of you.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Okay, real quick, I attended a webinar, CSBA sponsored a trauma-informed education on what governance needs to know about trauma-informed education. It was pretty interesting. I did attend the LCAP in my living room. And Robert, you did a fantastic job. The opening and having 400 people there was just amazing, record-breaking. Yes, you had some big shoes to fill with Manuel gone, but wow, that's a great start. And then I heard you doubled your numbers. 800 are signed up to.
Yes, we have, I think, a little over 800 signed up. As far as how many will, actually show up, obviously we'll see. But we have, I think, about confirmed folks that have accepted for the focus group meeting. The first one we're having is this Thursday. We have over 200 people right now. But, really the credit goes to all the folks that are at the sites, our principals, our union leadership, Dr. Roxana Hernandez, who's been also working hard with all of our sites, and then Amkar, who led the charge with our students in terms of recruiting our students. We had over 200 students on February the 9th, and they were really they were speaking up, they're asking questions. It was really beautiful to see. So again, just going back to the importance of student voice and agency and seeing it, live in action. So thank you to everyone, and in particular to Amkar. Appreciate it.
Fantastic. All right. I love these two humble gentlemen who defer to, they're so humble. You don't take credit, but you deserve the credit for that, too. I attended also, the comfort of my living room, the Black History Month celebration, where I spotted two of our cabinet members dancing. It was really funny because they stood up and they started dancing. I'm like, that's Brad, that's Jaron. And so I quickly text Jaron, because he always answers the text, right? Right away. And he's looking like, where am I? But there was a camera right behind you two, and I could see you enjoying yourselves. I teased them and I said, I know you guys want to get up there on the stage and dance because you have a great act. But that was fun. It was wonderful celebration, but it was also wonderful to see our cabinet members there enjoying the celebration and taking the time to do that too. I teased them, but I really appreciate that, and I'm sure everyone appreciated you being there. It was really great, and you were actually there. So I appreciated the folks streaming that live, so I didn't have to miss that. I also, this weekend, was able to go to the Saturday Academy, where the ambassadors planned their second mindfulness retreat, I'm going to say. They have it down. This is only the second time that the ambassadors put this on, and it was like an adult-run retreat that you would pay money for. You were so professional. It was just amazing. They had students for their Saturday Academy attendance actually choose to do this workshop. Brian Ton was actually there to actually witness, and because there was a cohort from Gear Up there, and it moved to tears to see the students leading this, and we're so lucky to have Brian for all of these years. I think it's been 6 years now. But to see what his work has done in inspiring our students. And we have mindful representatives at our schools. I mean, that's just, no other district is doing this work. And so it was really, really, really well done. So congratulate the ambassadors. And who is the student that actually led it or put it together? He was really tired. He was up all night long and worried.
The Cyprus ambassador,
Yes.
Vinod.
Yes, yeah, Vinod. Yes, please give him my best because he did a fantastic job. That's my report.
Thank you. Speaking of the Black History Month celebration, and she mentioned about the video, is there a way to determine how many people were actually logged in? Do we have that capacity?
At the time, there were 40 or so logged in, but of course, it's the after the recording, people keep continuing to watch that.
Okay, but live it was 40 plus whoever was in the audience there. Yeah, that was very good. Thank you. I didn't know that it would be in broadcast live. So I attended that celebration also at Kennedy, and the hosts were Cyprus seniors, and they were just so professional, weren't they? Just amazing how well they presented themselves, and they weren't standing there reading notes when they were doing it. They were just out talking and leading it. So they have a good future for them. I attended the girls' engineering day at Dale Junior High, and different classrooms where they were going through scenarios with. I was surprised at how many professional adults were there. In each classroom, there must have been at least 6 to 10 adults there from the representing their profession in engineering for the girls, both male and female. So that was really nice to see. And the rooms were full, and even though it had been raining, so I thought maybe it was going to be a little light, but no, they were well attended. I attended the ROP in-service for teachers, and the theme was Leave a Lasting Impact. And the keynote speaker was Kathy Boyd and her staff from OCDE, and they did a very nice job. I was impressed with their presentation. And last, I attended the first annual soapbox speech at Loara. And I have to tell you, boy, those kids are really great. They were so eloquent and so knowledgeable in their presentation. The way they came across, they're going to do well.
You know, March 23rd is our soapbox final.
Right, it's on my calendar, yes. So I don't know who's going to be representing that school, but they all did really, really well. And some of the, I was going to say some of the topics, I don't know if I can pull it fast enough, but it was amazing. Some of the topics that they were, it's not coming up fast enough, darn it. Yeah, here it is. One talked on VAPA, very knowledgeable. Balancing life, talking about AP classes and an unbalanced class load. The significance of discipline for teens. Starter pets, this was really interesting. Hamsters, gerbils, turtles, and goldfish, what they go through because they're just basically flushed down the toilet. You know, kids get them and they don't treat them well, and then they're just flushed. So they were, but it was presented very well. I mean, really put the kids to shame because they were being mean to these little animals. Asian American hate, chasing your dreams, and a carbon footprint. So those were the various topics of the speeches, and I have to tell you, they did a lot of research to get to where they, before they got up on stage, so they did a great job. So that's my report. Next is advanced planning. Future meeting dates are listed. Next meeting is April 13th. Glad that's not Friday, but it's a Thursday. And suggested agenda items is 14.2. Anybody have that?
Yes, I'm just still putting a plug for our board PLC or workshop, whatever you want to call that.
Could you speak up?
Oh, sorry, I'm putting in a plug for my request for a workshop for the board.
Okay, I believe Ms. Matsuda was going to have a chat with you first.
Okay.
Yeah. Report out, okay?
And then I'm wondering if it's amenable that we could maybe have a little small celebration for the land acknowledgement, a little ceremony
For the what acknowledgement?
what?
the land acknowledgement.
Oh, land
Yeah,
acknowledgement.
that we just did. Maybe just a few folks reading and something like that.
Well,
Talk
yeah.
about it. Just wanted to put that out there.
Okay.
Okay.
For adjournment, I'd like to,
Wait, oh,
yes, go ahead.
before you adjourned, okay, I
Okay.
have something else I want to bring up.
Okay.
Okay, I have gotten a few emails from students from Cypress High School, and I had some, not unusual, but one of them I want to share with you, because this is part of, I guess their capstone project, okay? So this is the letter I was written. Dear Trustee Piercy, we are students at Cypress High School, and we believe there aren't enough life skills taught to students of and around our age. At a time around our age, it's necessary to obtain and gain at least some understanding before going into the real world as an adult. Our proposed solution is to add a life skill class to the A to G curriculum to teach the students the necessary skills, parentheses, driver's ed, behind the wheel, taxes, job hunting, etc. To live in the real world, okay? And then later in the near future, we plan on creating a survey for AUHSD students on this issue to fill out so their voices along with ours can be heard. Upon our initial research, we have found that, quote unquote, people of all ages can benefit from life skills, training, and instruction. It's important to teach these skills as early as possible. Learning life skills helps our children create better futures for themselves and for the world at large, unquote. Thank you so much for taking the time to read our letter and hear what we have to say about what we believe is an absence in part of the curriculum. And they look forward to hearing from me, okay? But I really liked that, and they signed
good.
their names, and I just thought, this is so astute. I mean, really, and well-written letter, and I love getting, I haven't answered them because I just saw it on the fly today, but I'll get to it tomorrow. And then there's another one about another thing, but I loved this one. This was very well done. And I wanted to share it with everybody, so.
Thank you.
Shout out to the capstone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right, number 15. I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but when we were in closed session today, we got a report that our former CBO and Assistant Superintendent Diane Poor passed away today. And so we're going to adjourn the meeting in her name. So do we have a motion?
Oh, so moved.
Second.
Yeah.
Motion and a second.
I'm
All
so
in favor,
shocked
say
to
aye.
hear, and it's really sad.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all. 5-0.